You ever stand on a dock at 4:47 a.m., mist curling off the water like cigarette smoke, coffee burning your tongue, and realize the exact second your entire life just got hijacked? I'm Jake Harlan, 46, divorced, electrician by trade, lake rat by blood. And that morning the loons were screaming louder than usual across Lake Blue Pine, like they knew what was coming before I did. I remember the boards under my bare feet still holding the night's chill, the way the sky was just starting to bruise purple over the eastern ridge, and then I saw it. White Range Rover gleaming like a shark cutting through the pines, parking itself across the cove on the one lot that had been empty since I was 12. The driver stepped out in heels sharp enough to commit murder, blonde hair catching the first light like a warning flare, and even from 200 yards I could feel the temperature drop. Claire Beaumont, former Denver real estate attorney who once flipped entire neighborhoods before breakfast, had just paid $1.4 million for the ugliest glass and steel fortress I'd ever seen, a house that looked like it was designed by someone who lost a bet with modern architecture. She stood on her deck that first morning, arms crossed, staring at my grandfather's 1967 dock like it had slept with her husband. Granddad Tom Harlan bought these 2.7 acres back when you could still get prime shoreline for the price of a used pickup, $3,000 total, cash scraped together from 20 years of turning wrenches at the Pine Ridge garage. He built the cabin himself, cedar planks he milled with a borrowed saw, nails he straightened when money got tight, and that dock, oh man, that dock was his pride. Every summer, he'd let me hammer one new board into it, just one, my name carved underneath in shaky 10-year-old letters, Jake 84, Jake 85, all the way to Jake 91, the year he died, and left me the only thing that ever felt like home. I moved back full-time after the divorce, needed the quiet, needed the smell of pine sap and outboard oil to drown out the sound of my ex-wife's lawyers saying irreconcilable differences, like it was a weather report. I'm good with my hands, always have been, rewired the whole cabin myself, replaced the septic, patched the roof with shingles I carried up the ladder one by one while the lake whispered, keep going, keep going. Life was finally level again, sunsets free of charge, bass hitting topwater lures like they were pissed at the world, until Claire decided my weathered gray boards were a personal insult to her property value. It started small, the way cancer does. A note on my truck windshield about excessive noise when I was splitting firewood at 10 a.m. on a Saturday. Then her guests parking their Teslas across my access road like they owned the dirt. Then the surveyor, 3 straight days of electronic beeping echoing across the water like a dying robot, orange flags popping up along my shoreline like measles. I'd be out there in my waders, patching the dock, smelling creosote and lake rot, and I'd feel her eyes drilling holes through my back. Then came the certified letter, thick cream envelope, county seal, my hands actually shaking as I slid it open on the tailgate of my '98 Ford. Remove the illegal structure within 30 days or face daily fines and forced demolition. Illegal. 57 years of Harlan boots on those boards. 3 generations of Christmas morning photos with fish bigger than the kids. And now some woman who'd never even gotten lake water in her mouth was telling me it never belonged to us. I looked across the cove, and there she was, silhouette on her deck, wine glass raised in a toast to my funeral. I sat there until the sun burned the mist off the water, until the letter was damp with sweat and tears I didn't know I was crying. And I made a promise out loud to the lake, to Granddad, to every ghost who ever loved this place. They'll get this land when they pry it from my cold, dead fingers. Then I called the only 3 people on earth who scare lawyers more than I scare spiders. Lila Harlan, my cousin, paralegal warlord who can make a judge cry with a single footnote. Marcus Reed, contractor savant who once built a code-perfect deck so bulletproof the county used it as a training video. And Evelyn Hart, retired librarian who treats public records like holy scripture and has a photographic memory for scandal. We met at Brew and Pine Coffee the next dawn, steam fogging the windows, blueprints unrolling across the table like battle plans for Normandy. And for the first time since that letter hit my chest like a .45, I felt something dangerous, hope. 2 weeks later, I'm $9,800 lighter, but the new dock is rising like a phoenix made of cedar and spite. Every piling driven by Marcus with a hydraulic rig that sounds like Thor's hammer. Every permit laminated and zip-tied to the railing like a declaration of war. We went overboard, structural engineering report thick as a phone book, environmental impact study paid for out of pocket, underwater cameras, motion sensors. For K-night vision pointed every direction except her bedroom, because even I have limits. Claire tried everything. Anonymous tips to zoning, fake wetland complaints to the EPA, a restraining order claiming I was menacing her children, me, the guy who once carried a baby duck back to its mama in my hat. Judge signed the temporary order faster than you can say X part, banned me from my own dock during the best walleye run in a decade. I watched from my porch swing as she set up her $800 turquoise kayaks exactly where Granddad taught me to tie a clinch knot, sipping Chardonnay like she'd already won. But here's the thing about desperate people. They leave fingerprints on everything they touch. Turns out Claire wasn't just a bully with a trust fund. She was a drowning woman clutching at my shoreline like a life raft. $142,000 tax lien from Colorado. $237,000 environmental cleanup for the old gas station under her foundation. Mortgage company one recorded document away from calling the entire $1.1 million loan. She had 87 days before the next lien payment triggered seizure. 87 days to combine both parcels, triple her waterfront footage, and flip the whole thing to some crypto bro before the bank noticed she'd committed felony fraud on her loan application. Every move suddenly made sense. The rushed survey, the fake HOA, the $6,500 she offered Inspector Ramirez in a Starbucks bathroom, caught on his body cam because some people never consider the help might have principles. Felony attempted bribery, gift wrapped with a bow. The 2:53 a.m. rope cutting by her ex-landscaper Todd, who still owed her for a botched retaining wall and thought $800 cash was worth grand theft, captured in 4K infrared retreating toward her lighted dock like a horror movie villain who forgot his mask. I didn't sleep that night. Sat on the porch with a Bushmills I couldn't taste, watching her house lights flick on and off like a dying strobe, knowing every dollar she burned on lawyers was blood from a vein that couldn't afford to bleed. We let her dig. Let her spend $112,000 on marble lobby attorneys while Lila spent $220 on records requests that painted her past in high-definition shame. Sanctioned 3 times in Colorado, once for suing a neighbor because autumn leaves lowered her curb appeal, once for trying to adverse possess a city bus stop. We let her file motions, let her postpone hearings, let her think time was her friend when it was actually my most lethal weapon. The dock became legend. Marcus installed underwater LEDs that turned the lake into a damn aquarium at night. Purple and blue ripples dancing across the surface like the northern lights had too much tequila. Neighbors brought lemonade in mason jars. Kids filmed drone footage for their YouTube channels. Mrs. Delgado organized a support petition that hit 68 signatures before lunch. Every hammer blow echoed across the water like a heartbeat. Every new board smelled like victory and fresh-cut cedar. Every sunset glowing off the hand-sanded railings was a love letter to Granddad that Claire had to watch from her cold glass palace. She tried one last time, organized a concerned citizens meeting at the community center, showed up with glossy posters and a PowerPoint titled, Saving Lake Blue Pine from Irresponsible Development. 15 signatures, mostly her old sorority sisters who'd never even seen the lake. The local paper sent Maggie Walsh, reporter with a nose for bullshit and zero patience for rich people cosplaying as environmentalists. 2 days later, the headline read, $1 million mansion owner has history of frivolous lawsuits, secret 6-figure liens. I could see Claire on her deck every evening, pacing, phone glued to her ear, voice carrying across the water in sharp fragments. I don't care what it costs. File another motion. Find something, anything. The underwater lights reflected off her glass walls like a prison searchlight, and I'd raise my coffee mug in a mock toast, knowing every sunrise brought her one day closer to the cliff. Tuesday, 7 p.m., County Commission chambers packed tighter than a Vikings playoff game. Folding chairs groaning, air thick with popcorn tension and barely contained rage. Claire rolled in 20 minutes late, wheeling a $4,200 presentation cart like she was defending a murder case. Poster boards gleaming under fluorescent lights, PowerPoint titled, Environmental Catastrophe at Lake Blue Pine. She had it all. Commissioned impact study claiming my dock murdered fish embryos, increased erosion, caused algae blooms worse than agricultural runoff, voice dripping with practiced attorney outrage. We cannot allow precedent-setting violations to destroy our pristine ecosystem for generations to come. 23 minutes of pure theater, and then it was my turn. I stood up slow, just a working man in clean Carhartt jeans and granddad's faded flannel, boots still smelling like sawdust and lake water, and I didn't say much at first. Just plugged my laptop into the projector and hit play. Security footage, 2:53 a.m., August 14th. Todd in a black hoodie sawing through $1,400 worth of marine rope with a $180 utility knife. Timestamp burning white. GPS coordinates pinned to her backyard. Her lighted dock in the background like a neon confession. The room went so quiet you could hear heart stopping. Then I clicked to the next slide. Photos of her algae bloom thick as split pea soup. Her dock jutting 42 feet into public water. Fertilizer bags labeled with lot numbers matching her landscaping invoices. Click. Inspector Ramirez's bodycam footage of her offering $6,500 cash in a Starbucks bathroom. Click. Colorado court documents. 3 sanctions, $87,000 in fines. Click. The original 1967 county survey signed by engineer Walter Brennan himself, declaring my dock legal since before Claire was potty trained. Deputy Morales stood when called, voice steady. Felony vandalism and attempted bribery charges pending, evidence secured. Mrs. Delgado read the neighbor petition, 73 signatures now, praising my dock as the new standard for responsible shoreline stewardship. County Environmental Officer Dr. Patel took the mic last, voice like a judge's gavel. Mr. Harlan's structure not only meets but exceeds every current regulation. Conversely, Mrs. Beaumont's property shows multiple active violations requiring immediate $180,000 remediation. Claire's face, man, I'll carry it to my grave. All that filler and Botox couldn't hide the exact second her empire shattered, eyes darting like a trapped animal, lawyer whispering frantically, poster boards sliding off the cart like surrender flags. Commissioner Harrington leaned forward, voice calm as a frozen lake. Mrs. Beaumont, would you care to address the 42-foot illegal dock extension currently poisoning public waters? That's when she broke. Grabbed her $900 suitcase, wheels screaming across linoleum. No comment, barely a whisper as she bolted for the exit 42 feet she didn't own. The vote was unanimous. My dock approved. Hers ordered dismantled within 30 days. Full investigation launched into her environmental crimes. The room erupted. Neighbors I hadn't spoken to in years shaking my hand. Mrs. Delgado hugging me so hard my ribs creaked. Maggie Walsh already typing the headline. Millionaire's revenge plot backfires spectacularly. Loses everything. 3 months later, I'm on the finished dock at sunrise. Coffee perfect. Underwater LEDs still glowing soft purple from last night. And across the cove the Morales family laughs as their kids cannonball off the dock that used to be Claire's. Foreclosure hit like a freight train. Bank discovered the lien, the contamination, the fraud. Forced sale at $920,000 loss just to dodge felony charges. Plea deal, $12,400 restitution. Public apology, she choked out in open court while her lawyer aged 10 years and 10 minutes. Then gone. Poof. Back to whatever gated community rich failures crawl into when the money runs out. Property value up 48%. County using my plans as the official template. Helped 6 neighbors build their own. Started the Blue Pine Legacy Fund with the vandalism settlement and matching donations. 23 kids last summer learning to swing hammers and tie bolins, just like Granddad taught me. Some mornings I still sit here in the exact spot he used to, boots in the water, and I swear I can feel him resting a hand on my shoulder, smell the Old Spice and motor oil, hear him whisper, "Good job, kid." So tell me, when someone tries to steal your grandfather's grave with a smile and a stack of forged documents, when they bribe officials, cut your lines, lie to your face for 18 straight months while their own house burns, is it really revenge if you just stand still and let truth do the heavy lifting? Is it justice when the lake itself rises up and drags the monster back into the deep? Or is it just the way the world writes itself when good men refuse to blink? Drop your story below, because I read every single one. And next week, I'm telling you how Sergeant Bill Donovan, 2 tours in Fallujah, took on the HOA that tried to ban his American flag from the house he bought with VA blood money. and how an entire town reminded them what real tyranny looks like. Hit subscribe, ring that bell, because sometimes the sunrise belongs to the guy who never stopped fighting for it. And when it finally comes, man, it's the most beautiful thing you'll ever see.